The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. This is my life story as it was written down by that famous American author, L. Frank Baum. My life began in a place called Burzee. Heard of the great forest of Burzee? Burzee is located just outside the land of Oz, on the other side of the deadly desert. Burzee is known for its great big tree trunks and branches intertwining above, its gnarled limbs and bushy foliage like a roof over the entire forest. The forest of Burzee is mighty and grand and awesome. For hundreds of years, it has flourished with the chirping of chipmunks, the growling of wild beasts, and the singing of birds. It's a refuge and a playground for the sweet immortals, the fairies, nooks, ryls, and nymphs. There lived in Burzee wood nymphs who watched over the forest trees. One wood nymph was named Necile. Necile was highly regarded because of her beauty and grace. Her hair was curly in the color that lines a chestnut burr. Her eyes sparkled in the sunlight and in the shade. Necile's cheeks bloomed with the faint blush of Claus. She is my foster mother. In those days, the great auk visited the forest of Burzee, and he allowed the wood nymphs to lie at his feet and listen to the words of wisdom. Auk, you see, is the master woodman of the world, and he sees everything. One night, Auk spoke. We live so happily, my fair ones, in our great forest glades, that we know little of the sorrow and misery that fall on the lot of those poor mortals who inhabit the earth. And as I pass by the suffering mortals, I'm tempted to stop and banish the poor thing's misery. Yet suffering in moderation is the natural lot of mortals. Auk reasoned. I dare not interfere with the burdens of nature imposed upon the men and women, but the helpless infants. Children have a right to be happy. This night, as I came to the edge of Burzee, I heard a feeble cry. And I looked about me, and I found close to the forest a helpless babe lying quite naked upon the grasses and wailing piteously. Nearby crouched Shigra, a lioness intent upon devouring the infant for her evening meal. So I commanded Shigra to lie close to the babe and to give it her milk to quiet its hunger. And I told her to send word throughout the forest that child should not be harmed. Necile, the wood nymph, listened to Auk's every word. Necile had never beheld a child of man. Peering through the trees, Necile saw the grass. The nymph knelt by the side of the babe, her long robe spreading out about her like a gossamer cloud. The babe was newborn and chunky and pink. It was entirely helpless. While Necile gazed, the infant opened its eyes, smiled upon her, and stretched out its two dimpled arms. And in an instant, Necile caught the babe in her breast and was hurrying with it through the forest path. The master woodsman raised his voice. There is a strange presence in the forest. Auk, who was now joined by the queen of the fairies, turned and saw standing before him Necile, with the sleeping infant clasped tightly in her arms and a defiant look in her eyes. For the first time within my knowledge, a nymph has defied my laws, yet in my heart I can find no word of chiding. What is your desire, Necile? Necile answered, falling on her knees. Let me keep the child. Auk questioned. Here in the forest of Burzee, where the human race has never penetrated? Here in the forest of Burzee, it is my home. Let me care for the babe. See how weak and helpless he is, replied Necile. But the law, child, the law, oh master woodsman, the law is made by you. If the master woodsman bids me care for the babe he himself has saved from death, who in all the world dare oppose me? Necile shall keep the babe, and I will give it my protection. But I warn you all that this is the first time I have relaxed the law, and so it shall be the last time. And then Ock was gone from their midst. Necile hurried away with her new bower to rejoice over her new-found treasure. Oh, what shall I call him? Necile asked herself. He must have a name. Let him be called Claus, for that means little one. The queen of the fairies was standing by and whispered, rather, let him be called Necklace, for that means Necile's little one. All the nymphs clapped their hands in delight, and Necklace became the infant's name. Necile loved best to call him Claus. Necile gathered the soft moss in the forest for Claus to lie upon, while Shigra the lioness often crept steadily and stealthily into Necile's bower and purred softly as she lay beside the babe and fed it. The little one flourished and grew big and sturdy day by day, while Necile taught him to speak and to walk and to play. The news reached the other immortals that a nymph in Berzee had adopted a human infant. Therefore, many of them came to visit the little stranger. Oh, the Ryls appeared. The Ryls are the first cousins of the wood nymphs. Although differently formed, the Ryls are required to watch over the flowers and the plants, as the nymphs watch over the forest trees. And next to come were the Knooks, whose duty it is to watch over the beasts of the world, both gentle and wild. Next to come were the fairies, the guardians of mankind, who were much interested in the adoption of Claus, because their own laws forbade them to become familiar with human charges. So, these are my earliest memories, mixed with the stories Necile told me, and I was happy and content.